He had already served his time. He was going to be returned primarily for the purpose of being discharged from the military. He wasn't going to go back and serve more time in the U.S. He was going to be released. So the fact that he chose to make this very elaborate and detailed plan, because this was not something a spur of the moment. He actually had a resourced plan to leave the airport, take the 85-kilometer trip up to the DMZ on a tour, and then to dash across the military demarcation line into North Korean custody. It just defies any kind of rational explanation, because I think, as you just mentioned a second ago, I mean, if he was facing some serious jail time in the United States or something, perhaps he may calculate it would be better to be over to North Korea, though even that's strange. But he was not facing any jail time when he got back. So that makes it even more bizarre that he did this action.
So what does the US do about it? Does it make him a priority to get him back in the way that, the basketball player who was imprisoned in Russia, Brittany Griner, or the Wall Street Journal correspondent that they're trying to get out of Russia now? Or do they just say, well, you've made your choices, you make your bed, you lie down on it? The United States is actually very keen on getting anyone back, and then they'll sort out the problems after the fact. But the North Koreans are going to do everything they can to maximize this to their advantage. You can count on that. They obviously don't care anything about the individual. And in fact, up to this point, all they have done is acknowledge that we contacted them regarding Private King. According to what the Pentagon spokesman and State Department people have been saying, they haven't even acknowledged having him. And so they certainly haven't talked about at all about any possibilities of having him returned or whatever. They've basically been stonewalling the United States. So even if we were incredibly eager to get him back, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And based on my understanding and experience with North Korea, they will exploit this soldier to the maximum benefit that they can get. And once he's no longer a priority or a value, then they might try to get something in return for him. And they are definitely not just going to hand him over.
You know that stretch of border really well. Just talk us through how you think he did it.
Yeah, I do. I've been there a number of times myself. I've been all up and down the DMZ. I was stationed there for about a year in the 90s. And it's called the Joint Security Area, the JSA, is where this physically took place. And there have been tours there for decades, really from both sides. And you can literally walk up to the actual physical border between the two countries in this area. And there are South Korean guards on one side and North Korean guards on the other. And you may remember in 2019, President Trump famously stepped across the MDL and shook hands with Kim Jong-un. That's exactly the location where this took place. In the midst of this tour, instead of just looking across the table or across the line, the physical line on the ground, all of a sudden Private King dashed across and then was apparently taken away by the North Korean guards on the other side. But that's where this took place in a normally a tourist area.
Why do you think he did it?
I think that he has some sort of emotional problems that have been going on that has put him under some kind of enormous personal strain. And I think he's just kind of snapped. I mean, just to be honest about it, because this is so irrational that it doesn't make any sense on any level.
This has been a Global Player original podcast and a Persephonica production.